While we're out here harvesting soybeans in the new S7 John Deere combine, we got an S7 600 machine with a 35-foot draper head, and wanted to talk about some of the new technology on this machine today. So this machine is equipped with predictive ground speed automation. We can see we have some cameras mounted up on the front of the cab that are out looking in front of the crop, detecting how much biomass is out there to kind of predict how much material is going to be coming through the machine, so we can speed the machine up and slow it down based on how much crop's coming in, so we can be as efficient as possible. So we can see what those cameras are seeing here on the screen. So red would be less biomass. You can kind of see where we got just a little strip there where we've already harvested and where the sprayer tracks are. Got a little less biomass there. And then as it turns more green would be heavier biomass. So this machine's going to speed up and slow down to keep it running at peak efficiency the whole time. So I can see over here on the corner post how fast I'm going. The blue combine with the auto indicates our automatic speed is on, and then it's going to keep track of our engine load, and it's going to try to keep us above 100%, which is a new feature with the predictive ground speed automation, is allowing to set the combine higher than 100% because we can see that heavier load oncoming, and instead of having to react to it once it's in the combine, we can see it coming before it gets there. So it's going to work a little bit smoother. So you can see we're kind of going up a hill here. We're getting higher engine load. It's slowing down just a little bit. Now as we crest the hill and the load becomes a little bit less, it goes ahead and speeds up. So just at the end of the day, it's going to make your machine more efficient so you can get more acreage done day in and day out, keeping that machine at peak efficiency the whole time. You can also see up here on the screen, so not only do we have the cameras for predictive ground speed, but we also have satellite imagery that's being taken throughout the growing season that's going to predict what your yield or biomass is going to be in addition to the cameras. So if you get into some conditions where, maybe the cameras don't necessarily work as well, it also has the satellite imagery to kind of fall back on there. So we can see we're going through a heavier section here where the crop's a little bit better, the field a little bit lower elevation there, a little bit better crop. We could see that coming, and it went ahead and slowed down as that engine load came up. So another feature that we can run with these Gen 4 and G5 displays is auto track turn automation, which is new for combines. It just came out at the end of last harvest season, but is available for any machine running a Gen 4 or G5 display as well. So as we get up to the end of the field here, we can kind of see what this turn is going to look like, but it's going to make the turn for me and come back in straight to the field. So all I'll have to do is just pick the head up and down. So you can see as we approach the turn, you can see what the predicted turn is going to look like there with the blue line. It's going to kick out to the left just a little bit. Going to go ahead and make the turn around, and it's going to get me back in perfectly square. Then I'll have to drop the head, get some crop going in the machine, kick my predictive ground speed back on, and away we go. Also new on the S7 combines is our updated harvest automation. We can see our harvest automation run screen here on the page. So we talked a little bit about predictive ground speed already, so we can set a speed limit and an engine power target. And then we can see a graph here of what our bushels per hour are doing along with our yield. So we can see how those are trending over the last 15 minutes. So with harvest automation, we have a little more control over what we want the combine to do. So there's 3 inputs that Harvest Automation is looking at. We're looking at grain loss, foreign material in our sample, as well as broken grain in our sample. So the number on the left is basically the target that we want that machine to achieve. So 4.5 is essentially just kind of a relative number. So the scale is kind of 0 to 10. And then we can see our graph of where the machine is currently running at over the last 15 minutes, and then the current level of each one of those factors. So we currently have our grain loss set at 4.5 as our limit, and we're doing very, very well at 0.3. We've checked behind the machine, and there's hardly any losses at all behind the machine. Some also new features on the S7 machine is on our grain loss. We now have 4 loss sensors across the back of the cleaning shoe instead of 2. And we can now see a graph of what each one of those individual sensors is seeing. Before, we just seen an average of the sensors, so that's going to give us a little better indication on potentially where our losses may be and what adjustments we need to make to the combine. So I really feel like that is going to help us do a better job setting our machines now that we have better inputs on maybe where our loss is coming from. You know, is it coming from the right? Is it coming from the left? Is it even across the cleaning shoe? Then we also have the foreign material and broken grain. We can see our current level. They're both doing pretty well. If I want to adjust those, I can simply just go in on the target and then increase or decrease the target of what my acceptable limit is for each one of those variables. If you're a customer that runs Machine Sync, a new feature with that is when we're in our unloading status, you can pick how you want the combine to react when you're running the ground speed automation. So variable will allow the machine to speed up and slow down as it needs to. No matter what the grain cart's doing, you can also run offset. So basically when you engage the unloading auger, you can tell it to slow down by a half a mile an hour or a mile an hour if you have a certain speed you like to run with the grain cart, or you can simply just go to a fixed speed, and when you turn the unloading auger on, if you just want to unload at 4 miles an hour all the time, you can do that. So that's a new feature with this unloading on the go mode of how you want the combine to handle ground speed based on what you would like to do. So I've adjusted my broken grain limit to be a little bit more sensitive to try to clean some of that up. So we can see my target is 1.5. It has crept up above 1.5 here in the last 5 minutes. We can see we're currently at 1.3. So what the machine has done is we can see it's changed the concave clearance because of that broken grain. So we can see that symbol matches up with our broken grain symbol. So it kind of tells you what adjustment it's making on the combine and what one of these factors is causing that change. So a little more intuitive than the auto maintain system we had on the previous model combine, so we can see exactly which setting it's changing and why it's making a change to that setting. I think it's a little easier to understand what's going on than what we had previously. More intuitive for the operator to understand what's going on. On the S7 combines, a factory orderable option now is the adjustable spout on the end of the auger. I can simply control that from my hydro handle to fine tune exactly where that grain is going. If I need to push that grain out a little bit, I'll just use my scroll wheel here. Just bump it out a little bit to get that right in the center of the truck. You can also see how nice of a straight down pattern this new spout puts out as well. Once you're done dumping, you can see the spout will go through a clean out process and come straight down to help it clean out, and then once complete, it will tip all the way out to field transport position.